Hello, welcome to the Project Automan YouTube channel. You are just in time for today's video in which we try to figure out what I'll do with the rest of that plutonium.
Yeah, I have been wondering about that.
If you don't have a flux capacitor, you can still experience classic TV and film by subscribing to the Project Automan YouTube channel. Also, be sure to like and share.
Happy 2025, everyone. We may not have anti-gravity skateboards, but we do have AI voices. If you knew how annoying my real voice is, you would understand how great technology is compared to when I started this channel.
Your jacket is now dry.
That sure is a lot of plutonium you've got there, Dr. Brown. What will you do if you don't use it all up by the time Marty's girlfriend changes from Claudia Wells to Elizabeth Shue? Not that I'm complaining. Have you ever noticed that the plutonium reported as missing in the news at the beginning of Back to the Future is still missing by the end, even after Doc Brown swaps the DeLorean's nuclear reactor for Mr. Fusion? A single vial of plutonium powers one trip through time. A round trip requires at least two. Einstein the dog used one vial to travel 1 minute into the future. Marty McFly used another to go back to 1955, and Doc Brown used a third to travel to 2015. So, what happened to the rest of the plutonium? After Einstein's test, we see the case of plutonium on screen. One vial slot in the upper left corner is empty, indicating that it powered the initial experiment. Doc Brown then removes a second vial to refuel the DeLorean, preparing for his trip to the future. However, before he can leave, the Libyans arrive and kill Doc, prompting Marty to escape to 1955 without enough plutonium for a return trip. That's 2 vials accounted for out of 12. When Marty and the 1955 Doc Brown use a lightning strike to power the DeLorean, the vial count remains at 2 upon Marty's return to 1985. After returning, the DeLorean breaks down, forcing Marty to rush back to the mall to warn Doc about the Libyans. Thanks to Marty's letter, Doc already knows and survives the encounter. Doc drives Marty home before continuing to 2015. Here's where things get interesting. Even though this isn't the alternate 1985 with corrupt Biff Tannen, the off-screen refueling of the DeLorean for its trip to 2015 highlights how ineffective the Hill Valley Police Department is. Remember, the DeLorean broke down in the courthouse square after Marty returned to 1985. Following Doc's reveal of his bulletproof vest, there would have been an off-screen scene of Doc and Marty loading the truck, leaving the mall littered with dead Libyan terrorists, heading to the courthouse square, donning radiation suits, and refueling the DeLorean, all after Marty crashed the car into the assembly of Christ Church. In 1955, a Hill Valley Patrol officer checked whether Doc had a permit for his weather experiment. Yet in 1985, a damaged church and 2 men in radiation suits working on a DeLorean in the early morning hours apparently didn't raise any eyebrows. By my count, 3 vials of plutonium were used by the time Doc showed up with the Mr. Fusion upgrade. So where did the leftover plutonium go? I doubt Doc tossed it into Mr. Fusion, which likely wouldn't process plutonium. As Wikipedia states, for elements lighter than iron on the periodic table, nuclear fusion releases energy. For iron and heavier elements, nuclear fusion consumes energy. The canonical name for the Fusion Industries product is the Mr. Fusion Home Energy Reactor. I doubt many homes in 2015 had plutonium in their household waste, and attempting to use it would probably void the warranty. In the Back to the Future comics, a few more vials are accounted for. The 4th vial powers a trip to 1938 to buy a copy of Action Comics #1. The 5th vial fuels the trip to sell it, and the 6th is used to return to 2015 for the Mr. Fusion and hover conversion upgrades. Even so, half of the plutonium remains unaccounted for. Here's my headcanon. While in 2015, researching valuable assets, Doc Brown discovered Bitcoin. Realizing that the last Bitcoin would be minted around 2140, he applied his expertise to create an autonomous, nuclear-powered Bitcoin mining rig and set up an off-grid mining farm to run for decades. Prove me wrong, Robert Zemeckis. Anyway, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, please consider subscribing to the Project Automan YouTube channel. Until next time.
My name is Darth Vader. I am an extraterrestrial from the planet Vulcan.